The visit. The story begins with a visit. A young girl is going about her day when suddenly a visitor, an angel, a messenger interrupts whatever she's doing to tell her that her world is about to be turned upside down. She has been called by God to bear a child who will turn the entire world upside down. And then the visitor is gone, and Mary has to try to figure out how she's going to get on with the rest of her life. And we think to ourselves, glad it was her and not me, as we go about getting on with the rest of our lives. Either that, or we have the attitude that those are nice tales used in the Bible to make some sort of point or transition in the story. After all, no angel from God has ever popped up next to us. No messenger has ever spoken to us from the shadows in the middle of the night. No visitors come to us claiming to be the spokesperson of God. And yet, in one of those churches I served, I had a Gabriel. Though she went by a different name, she was a dear, sweet, quiet lady from Ireland who was very faithful in her service to the church, faithful in her attendance every Sunday. One day, at the bottom of the stairs, coming out of the sanctuary, she took my hand and said, "I've been thinking about so-and-so." That's nice, I thought, and turned to the next person. About 10 days or so later, I was leaving and saw her working in a lovely garden of the church, and as we chatted, she looked at me and said, "I've had so-and-so on my mind." Again, I nodded politely and got into my van and left. Then, a few days later, she stopped me in the local shop and said, rather emphatically, "You need to go see so-and-so." The same name all 3 times. That's when the penny dropped. It wasn't Mary telling me, it was God. From that time on, I paid careful attention to her nudges, her intuitions, her comments about people, situations, coming events. She seemed to inhabit that thin space between us and God in ways that were just hard to explain. It wasn't that so-and-so had talked with her and that she had heard rumors about people, or that folks were complaining to her about things or people in the church. It was the connection of her heart and soul with God that gave her these feelings. And she knew it was her calling to pass them on to me. I came to trust her heart, her soul, her eyes, her voice. In fact, I would probably never have thought of going to Lorna or even have made the journey if she hadn't said to me one day, "You need to visit Lorna," and kept reminding me of this for some years. We all have Gabriels, Mays in our lives. We all have visitors, messengers, angels who give us nudges, shoves, words, whispers that are used to plant life within us. Gabriel is a little boy who comes up to us in a library one day and asks us to help him sound out a word. And the gift of mentoring is praised in us. May is a young person in the apartment building who says hello each day as she passes with her dog. Until that moment, she mentions she has no grandparents around and wondered if she would be at all right to knock on the door and talk. And the gift of friendship is planted in us. An angel is a stranger who sees us struggling to change a tire by the side of a busy road, stops and gets out, does it quickly and efficiently, and waves off our thanks as well as our money, with a reminder that we'll see someone by the side of the road someday, and generosity leaps in our hearts. A messenger is a teacher who notices what a challenge numbers offer to us, and rather than just handing back to us the tests with the low scores on them, speaks to us after class, encouraging us to simply pay more attention to what the problems are until we can puzzle out the solution. And confidence begins to blossom within us. A visitor is the person we sit next to on a plane as we return from a job interview that completely fell apart, as they quietly listen to our frustration and sense of failure, as they ask gentle questions and learn more about our lives, our skills, our worries, our breathing begins to slow. Our disappointment begins to fade, and our hearts begins to heal. And as we leave the plane, and the person simply says, "Now that I know a little bit about you and your gifts, I have no doubt you can nail the next interview." Hope is born in us again. V is for visit.